Welcome to the fourth day of the 12 Days of Articles in Review. My name is Mary Coughlin, and I'm the president and founder of Caring Essentials Collaborative. And today's article is by Tubbs-Cooley et al., published in the American Journal of Perinatology in 2014. The title of the paper is Missed Oral Feeding Opportunities and Preterm Infants' Time to Achieve Full Oral Feedings and NICU Discharge. This is a really cool paper that really talks about the outcomes of this phenomenon of missed care. If you didn't get a chance to download my special report about the implications of missed nursing cares in the NICU, please check it out, download it. It's completely free. Off of my websites, you can either go to caringessentials.org and it's on the About page, or it's on the front page of marycoughlinrn.com. And you can download it, check it out, really interesting stuff. This is not a phenomenon that's exclusive to neonatology. It's been examined in adult medicine, medical surgical, nursing, intensive care, the whole nine yards. So as nurses, we're really faced with understanding the implications of these rationed cares or these missed care opportunities. Oftentimes, I'm kind of digressing from the paper, but just to kind of put this in context, we've got a million competing priorities, and what we tend to do when we come on shift is we prioritize what are the things that we need to get done. And there are some cares that actually fall to the bottom of the list and become incomplete at the end of the shift, or are termed rationed or missed care. And so what these authors did is they looked at the impact of missed oral feeding encounters on infants' time to achieving full feeds, as well as their length of hospital stay. So these guys, they looked at a cohort of infants that were assigned to different feeding strategies, and they created this paper and pen type of a data collection sheet where they asked the nurses, once the infants were authorized to initiate oral feedings, whether they were Q-based or not, okay, they were asked to complete the details of what happened during the feeding encounter. Was it a missed feeding encounter because of infant behaviors or infant status, or was it missed because of time constraints or preparing for a procedure, or the infant was off the floor, that sort of thing. So typically we don't have a lot of information about the decision to gavage or to oral feed infants in the NICU. There's not a lot of information, but we do hypothesize that feeding, achieving full feeds does play a big role in the infant's hospital stay. And you'll see folks, introducing infants to oral feedings as early as 32 weeks, 34 weeks, and which brings me to another paper that I want to present to you over this 12 days of article and review that talks about this phenomenon as well. But here we go. Back to these guys. As you can tell, this topic is amazing. It's so wicked interesting. So what these guys did is they examined the cohort, and they did all the due diligence of making sure that there wasn't any asymmetry in the groups and that sort of thing, that the social demographics and the medical demographics all jived across all of the different groups. And basically, let's see, they looked at the incidence of missed oral feedings related to non-infant attributes. So infants who demonstrated feeding readiness cues, but the nurse gavage fed the baby instead of giving the baby an oral feeding. And usually these were, as I said, related to either time constraints. That was the number one reason for missing an oral feeding encounter, or other, like off the floor or preparing for a procedure and that sort of thing. And in the final analysis, and I'll give you more details in the written review, what they discovered is that a 1% increase in the proportion of missed oral feedings extended the infant's time to achieving full oral feedings by 1.45 days, which actually gave this finding a p-value of 0.007, so super significant. And in addition, this 1% increase in the proportion of missed oral feedings actually prolonged the infant's time to discharge by 1.36 days with a p-value of 0.047. So again, you know, this is really important information for us to understand that even though we think we're doing the right thing, you know, we're trying to cut corners and save time because we've got so many other things to do, there's a clinical and an economic consequence to those types of decisions that prior to this study, we had no idea. We just thought we were doing the right thing, making, you know, the appropriate decisions and critical decisions given the time constraints that we have. This whole concept of missed care has been studied extensively by Kalish, particularly in the grown-up population, but what they're discovering is it's really a reflection of the nursing work environment. And so addressing these rationed care activities and looking at how they impact clinical outcomes, economic outcomes, satisfaction outcomes, and stuff like that will help inform not only the bedside clinician, but the organization on how do we better support the environment so that we can optimize these outcomes. And, you know, of course, you know, the longer these people stay in the hospital, the more they're exposed to potential adverse consequences, and not to mention the economic impact of these, you know, these rationed care decisions. So to make a long story short, this was a fabulous study. More people are doing research on this phenomenon. In my November newsletter, I presented the paper about Rochefort and Clark. These are guys from Canada that are also looking at missed care in the NICU and that have also identified links between specific missed care and hospital readmission and lack of preparedness for discharge to home. So again, you know, this is great information to inform us, to inform our leadership, and to inform organizations that we as bedside clinicians need to make sure we have the right resources so we can do the good work that we need to do in order to optimize the quality of outcomes that we expect for the patients that we're serving. So that's it for today's journal article, and I'll check out the blog post as soon as I share the link with you guys. Have a wonderful Thursday, and just a few days left in 2016. I hope to get your feedback on these little snippets, these little annotations. Is it valuable to? Is it not? I hope it is. And that's it. So take care, care well, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.